How you doing, everybody? This is Joey Sanchez. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is something new for me that I'm doing, but it's something that I want to do. Right here, I'm going to introduce this man. Some of you might know who he is, but some of you might not. But he's a great drummer, a legend in my eyes. Roger Cabello.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Roger. First of all, where are you from? Where you came from? How long you've been playing?
Originally, I came from Laredo, Texas. Was born in Laredo, Texas. So, at 2 years old, my parents came over to San Antonio. And so the Chico I really raised here in San Antonio, and started playing drums. About 12 years old. 12, 13 years old, and I learned on my own. Actually, took 1 year of band in junior high, and that was it. The rest, just listening to, the radio, albums, records, and from there on, just kept playing, still doing it.
I know a lot of my older peers know who this guy is. Just for you a little bit of history, Roger Cabello is the original drummer for Montana Band. Montana Band, of course, had Ram Herrera back in the early 80s, right?
Early 80s,
I
that's
think
right.
it was like 84,
82, 80,
Después de que se salió de David Lee, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Right? So this is the original drummer. So you hear that song in the background, that's Rosas para una Rosa, that's him on drums. He did Entre Cantina y Cantina, a lot of hits that have withstood time. We're talking of, 40 years maybe? 30?
Yeah,
Close to 40 years?
About 40 years,
And
yeah.
those songs still get played. So to me, it's an honor because of course, not only you, but we're doing the drumming thing. So of course, I'm gonna give you
It's
credit.
a never-ending song, man. This song, they keep playing it, Just like it's been around for a long time. Still they play it.
It's something that I'm still looking for. I've recorded with a lot of groups myself, but I don't have that hit. That one hit like you. You have more. You have more than one. You got Rosas para una Rosa, Entre Cantina y Cantina, that have withstood the time. You're talking 30, 40 years, and they're still playing them.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, to me, and I think some of my peers, is a goal to have that one hit where it's gonna last. It's gonna take, probably your great grandchildren, your great grandchildren, or hear something like that.
Entre Cantina y Cantina, there's a song coming that Roger Contreras wrote it,
Yes,
like
exactly.
a Bible.
Yes.
And that song right there, people will tell me, hey, that song, it's like Las Nubes,
Yes.
Las Nubes, they keep playing it. It's a hit.
Yes.
They still play it.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
Cantina is one of the songs too that they play.
Yes.
They play like crazy.
Exactly.
Still going.
So
It's an honor, really.
yeah, and it's like I said, it's an honor for me. I've known you for a long time. I consider you one of my mentors. There's a bunch of them. I've always been. I'm a music guy, but
Yeah.
I love country. I love metal, rock. I love all types of music, but my heart is Tejano. I've had chances to go other places too, but my heart is in Tejano. I consider you one of my mentors. Of course, compadre Richard Solis, Pepe Guadiana,
Yeah.
all came out of Ram.
Richard Barron.
Richard Barron is another one, of course. Richard Barron is Jesse Reina from Pulido. There's a bunch of them that J.B. Hernandez is another one that recorded Amor Querido.
Yeah.
He's another guy that has a hit that will withstand time.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of them. Valde Munoz. There's so many right now to name on the top of my head. But I wanted to do this just to kind of keep the drumming culture to our young Tejanos, Chicanos, or Mexicanos, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
Porque es cultura. And I just want, to let people know that Roger Cabello, like I said, legend in Tejano drumming, Chicano drumming, or whatever you want to call it, Tejano, Chicano, Mexicano.
That's a great
So
compliment, man.
now that we're on that aspect, who were the guys that you looked up to, that when you were young, like, were you listening to the Chicano music back then? Who were the guys that influenced you?
Well, yeah, you keep talking about Rick Reyes también, Lou Jones.
Yes,
back then.
Rick Reyes is another of my
Another great
favorites.
drummer, yeah.
Yeah, Rick Reyes. Hay muchos. There's so many.
Richard Solis, with Latin Breed back then. I used to, with Latin Breed, Who doesn't love Latin breed? You
And
know?
of course, we're forgetting the great Bobby Solis.
Bobby Solis. Bobby
He was
Solis.
one of the first guys that reached out to me.
Right.
You know.
That one of the guys that I first saw in person, on stage.
Okay.
And he was a big influence to me, for a lot of drummers.
I think that was the first guy I saw too. It was him, and then after that it was just Arena, and then of course Richard Solis.
Yeah.
But so those are the guys that influenced. Who else influenced you around the Laredo area or?
The Laredo area, I didn't really know many drummers. I knew who the drummer was back then with the Peppers, because I worked with the Peppers in Laredo
Okay.
back in the late 70s. I did a couple of, maybe 6 months with Vitor Garza, los Peppers.
Wow.
Well, the drummer de ellos también, he was a good drummer too,
¿Cómo se llamaba él?
I can't remember.
Era Charlie Castillo.
Parece que Charlie, yeah. Charlie Castillo.
Charlie's another great drummer that played with Lambert también.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of great drummers in our culture, in our onda. I mean, it's just unbelievable. What have been your experiences? I mean, drumming. Like, where did you start at? What was your first band that you played with?
I started conjunto, man, because I started with Flaco Jimenez and Toby Torres back then, because they were good friends of my dad.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
músicos.
Wow.
My dad knew a lot of músicos. He loved Pavos, I played with Pavos. I played with Flaco Jimenez back then when I was 12, 13 years old. And
Wow. I
that's
didn't know
how I
that.
started with conjunto.
Okay.
That's how I started playing my drums, And then after that was my dad. He started his conjunto, Los Cuatro Haces. That was back in the later 70s, And from there on, Hot Tamales, I joined orquestas, which is
Okay.
big band type,
Hot Tamales. And what time? Around what years were those? Would you play with
Hot Tamales, I can't recall exactly, but I know we recorded a whole album for 30 Records.
Wow. Who was singing at the time?
Rick Luna.
Okay. Ricky.
Rick Luna, Chaparrito.
Yeah. I just
Yeah,
talked
Rick
to
Luna, and then Johnny
him a
Ray,
couple
Johnny
of
Ray,
weeks ago.
Johnny Ray Canales was
Johnny
with
Ray,
you.
yeah, remember
on
him.
keyboard.
Yes.
Ernie Cancino, Richard Hernandez used to play bass.
And yeah, man.
And yeah, man, Jimmy, ¿te acuerdas por eso? Yeah, man. 6-piece orchestra band.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was cool, man. Jimmy, we had a lot of fun with him, A cool cat, So, yeah, I mean.
So who else did you play with after Hot Tamales? How did Montana band come into Fruitation there? I mean, I know it was. I could be wrong, but the information that I got, I think y'all were together and before Ram was in the band. Y'all had a band going, right?
As a matter of fact, it was with Joe's Montana band,
Joe Reels.
Reels.
Yes.
Montana band. At that time, David Mares was singing because David Mares didn't have a band at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's some
we
history
were backing up David Mares, with Montana band. There was with Leroy, Roger Contreras, Jerry Narvaez,
Okay.
and ¿quién más? Chato played keyboards.
Victor, right?
Victor, yeah, Victor.
Victor,
Ortiz.
okay.
And we were backing up David Mares at the time,
Wow, I didn't know
before
that.
Ram came in.
Wow, I
And
did
then
not
that's
know
when supposedly Leroy discovered Ramo and Poteet.
Mhm.
He's like, hey man, I got this single for you. We done a gig in Poteet Hippo Palace, and Ram was singing with another group, Y salió Leroy para afuera, hey man, you got another singer who's going to try out. And I said, who is it? Ram Herrera. Well, nobody knew, not everybody.
Yeah.
But he was with David Lee at the time, before he was his band. So anyway, that's where Ram came in.
Okay.
Because Leroy, hey, we get this guy, man. Ram Herrera. We didn't know who he was, So finally we came, we practiced, rehearsed. We did a lot of songs. We practiced pretty late.
Wow.
Yeah, Roll Palace, man. And those are practice.
I remember, Royal Palace. Joe Reels used to tell us,
Yeah.
pues ahí ensayaban ustedes, cuando empezó con ustedes, pues también ahí ensayó Emilio, right? Cuando he picked up Emilio
yeah.
too.
Everybody
That was the practice house for Joe Reels bands.
Practice house, yeah, for a lot of bands.
So, what was the first album that y'all recorded with Montana? ¿Era con Ram o sin Ram? Or?
Era con Ram.
And what was the first single off that album?
I think it was Mentirosa and a cumbia, or no, it was a slow piece that Ram, recorded. I think it was a song that Roger Contreras wrote también.
Pero también.
Yeah.
And then, was it the first album or second album when y'all picked up, que comenzaron a agarrar onda, que everybody was like the most wanted man? And
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
was that the first album, second album? Porque I think the first, I mean, big hit era Rosas para una Rosa, no?
yeah, the second. I think that was the second album.
The second album, that's when y'all started taking off.
Yeah, with that, the Rosa por una Rosa, we used to play a lot in Houston at Stardust.
Stardust, I think it was
It was
Stardust.
Stardust, yeah.
Wow.
And we go up there. De repente we see the flyers, on the tables and that, Hey, the number one hit, Rosa por una Rosa in Houston.
Wow.
Everybody left all freaked out. I'm like, wow, man. That's what started picking up,
Wow.
But just that Rosa por una Rosa, it had a gimmick, because you give up roses.
Yes.
That was the gimmick,
Yes.
The people se juntaban, las mujeres ahí también, for a rose.
Wow.
And he's still doing it.
Yeah, he's still doing it to
that,
this
yeah.
day, and that's part of his show. And after that, what was the next hit that you remember of? Was it Entre Cantina and Cantina?
Entre
Or?
Cantina and Cantina was the second hit with Ram Montana. Yeah,
And that was written by Roger Contreras, correct?
también. Yeah.
Wow.
Roger Contreras wrote quite a bit of songs, for Montana band back then.
So how long did you last with Montana Band? How long were you there?
Did I last probably about 5 years, 4 years, 4.5 por ahí.
How many albums did you record with
I think it was
Montana Band?
3,
3?
if not 4. I think it's
I know it was the one, the first one que yo me acuerdo era el blue con el heart, no, que está Rem en el medio.
in the tub. Oh no, yeah, that's the first one.
And then the second
And
one,
then the second one, in the tub, I think, no.
ya ni me acuerdo.
I don't remember, man. I had those albums the minute it got
I know there was
already.
an album que you would in the back. Well, I mean, they had a picture of you playing.
Everybody,
of course,
yeah,
Roger
the whole band.
Contreras.
Yeah.
I think the guitar player was Johnny Lizondo at one time too,
Yeah,
right?
Johnny is on at the time.
And then
yeah.
Leroy Robazo, and the other sax player no me acuerdo. And then
Era Raúl Valdez.
okay, that was, I mean. So after that, after you left the band, I mean, what did you do after that?
I just kicked back for a while, man. I mean, because when it comes to getting married and tied up and that, it kind of changes things once in a while,
Wow.
Yeah, keep at it, or if not, they accept it or they don't. That's
Yeah.
part of your business.
Yeah.
That's I've been doing this for a long time. Since the chavalón, and I can remember, my ex-wife, paz descanse, ella también, she would say, tell my wife back then, this is what he chose to do. This
Yeah.
you met him as a musician.
Yes.
You accept him or you don't.
Yeah.
And she did. We put up with each other for a good while, and then it just didn't work out. But that's part of life. It's part of life.
Yes.
It happens. So I laid off for a while, and then I came back again. Just doing freelancing here and there. And I'm still doing that.
Cool.
You know.
I have a question. Since the song in the background, I always used to study this. You're playing the groove, but I hear that little thing like in the hi-hat. You hear it?
And other people tell me, ¿cómo se llama el drummer también de Pulido, lefty, zurdo?
Jesse Reina.
Jesse, yeah. Y también cuando tocamos, we used to play en el Valle también. Hey man, I love the way you do that.
So, I mean, ¿qué es la onda con eso? I mean, it's just something que... Porque siempre se me queda porque cuando we would go like, I mean, I'm still playing, pero cuando we would go on the long trips así con Rodeo o con... When CDs, my dad could transfer the albums to the CDs and the CDs started coming out.
You listen to
I would listen to that and I was like, is that like his own click or, what is it? I mean, cada quien tiene su little, su
Yeah.
little...
Yeah, well, I
It's a little
really
staple.
couldn't explain it. Tampoco, it just came naturally. Whatever I felt that, it, to me it clicked. So that's what I did. I would do.
Wow.
It's not something that I developed. It just came naturally when I was playing.
Yes, like, I mean, I always listen to it, like, and I could tell that's Roger, Yeah, so, I mean, it's just, to me, it's like, timekeeping,
Yeah.
Playing music.
Yeah.
What is, that's another question I'm going to ask. We're rambling, like I said, this is the first time for me, but it's something
There's
that
gonna be some editing that's
Yeah.
going on también, right?
so, I might not even edit, I might just leave it like that. Pero, what have you noticed the difference from drummers from back then till now? What do you see that's different in our onda?
Well, the onda still continues, no matter what. it just changes, with new talent, younger talent,
Yeah.
it changes, you know, drastically. It's changed big time compared to simple Tejano music,
Hmm.
simple beats, keeping the timing, with the band, I mean,
Yes.
and the newer generation, I mean, yeah, they're more advanced, man, and they put on some good shows, I have much respect for them too, the younger talent, very much, but they come a long way, from what we played,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
back then.
It was, I think, in my opinion, I think it was just more music oriented back then.
That's what it
I
was.
mean, I've always been told.
Simplicity también,
Yeah,
that's
I've
why.
always been told, like, people like by you, Richard Solis, and of course the late great Bobby Solis. When I was young, I met him when I was like 6, and then for 2 years, my dad used to do the bailes con Delmiro y all
Arturo.
Arturo and all them. So I used to go see, me gustaba la música, so me sentaba atrás. And Bobby was one of the first guys that reached out to me. He would tell me, hey, set up your own drums. Don't let nobody set them up because nobody cares. And
Yeah.
to this day, I still set up my own drums. One time that I didn't, they broke my bass drum. So eso se me queda.
Yeah,
Y siempre me decía, no tomes, no drogas. You gotta be in your sixth sense so you can see what's going on.
Yeah.
So he was the first one that reached out, but he would always tell me it's about the music. Listen to the music, porque aquel pues no sé si te acuerdas tú, tenía un drum set grande, pero también tenía shines y bells y
I saw it on
xylophones.
Facebook. Somebody mentioned it.
Oh, like man, that guy was ahead of his time, I think, back then. Pero todo lo que sabía, he would drive Sonny's band,
Yeah.
It was just like the director, but sometimes you hear him warm up and like, wow, like how do you do that?
He was a director big time, man, Bobby
Yeah.
Solis,
And like, it's just, I learned a lot from him. And then of course, he passed away. I think it was like 83, 82, no me acuerdo. I remember my dad called me, hey, Sonny's playing, ¿quieres ahí?
Andaba con Jorge, andaba con
Ajá,
Jorge
Jorge.
Alejandro when it happened.
Yeah, so I think the week before the dance, my dad said, no, it's not gonna happen. So it's like, wow. I was a little kid, I remember crying.
Yeah, that's some sad news, man.
Porque siempre me hice así con el bigote. Remember el bigote? He
Yeah.
used to go like that.
Yeah.
So, that's
He's a
pretty
cool cat. He was,
Yeah. So, what else? I mean, what stories can you tell me, like, other drummers que you used to see back then, like Richard, Bobby, I mean, Barron. I mean, no, Barron started young too, con Emilio Guerrero. I think que estaba en high school cuando empezó, pero, I mean, what else can you remember of those days? I mean, what sticks out? Like, I mean, everybody has their own moment. What was your moment when you were playing Montana band? What was, like...
Shit, I couldn't tell you exactly, man, but there was a lot of big moments, here and there.
But you have to have a favorite one, though. I know these has to... I mean, they're all favorite, but there's one that always sticks out.
Well, playing the concerts, man. Outdoor concerts. That's where when you have a nice system set up, and then you can hear everything. You can hear yourself playing. Your monitor, everything clicks all together, man. When you hear the bass, you play the guitar. I mean, when it sounds clean, you got a good sound system. But somebody knows how to run it. You can hear everything, and then you can play a lot more comfortable, man. That to me is
Cuando sabe todo, you could just
Yeah.
play your part and gel together as a band and just play music, right?
Yeah.
Another thing, I mean, what was your first drum set that you had when you started?
You know what? Yeah, come to think of that, man. My jefito bought me a drum set back then cuando estaba Acuña Furniture.
I remember that, yeah.
Acuña Furniture,
Uh-huh.
they had music. They had musical instruments ahí también. And my dad had good credit there, with the furniture and whatever,
Yeah.
he bought for the house. He said, I'm going to buy you a drum set, you better play them. And sure enough, he bought me an Apollo,
Okay.
the blue glitter Apollo
Wow.
drum set, man.
And who made those? You don't know who made them?
Shoot. Made in China or Taiwan, probably, but
I remember they
was
sounded
an
good
Apollo.
because
It's an Apollo glitter
I think
cable
the,
covering,
I
the
think the
drum.
last time I went to Acuña estaba chiquillo. I think I was like 6, 7. And my mom también tenía good credit ahí. And le dije, ¿cómo no? ¿Estás loco? No te voy a comprar eso, cuesta. But I think I remember seeing a gold one there. It was
Yeah, they had
no me
different
acuerdo qué brand. I don't know if it was an Apollo. But I know they had a gold one, and I wanted that gold for the longest time.
Because they had them like in 3 different colors, or in blue, the red, the yellow, and probably the silver,
And I think I remember seeing a black one también.
and a black one probably.
Yeah, just
the-
regular.
The glitter,
Yeah.
the glitter covering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first drum set, man, a blue one.
And what kind of drum set did you have when you played with Montana Band?
Drum set back then I had a Tama Superstar. What was it, Superstar?
And you had that one for almost. You stayed with that one for a long time now.
Wow, yeah. I used it with the tall boys to men.
I remember that because I used it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I used it a couple of
I had
times.
that one for a long time. When I got them with Ram when what was it? Well, yeah, at the time that we're making money.
Wow.
I afforded a new set, so that's what I had, Chamas.
And then I remember asking you a question too. It was one of the albums you recorded at Manny's. I said, what kind of drum set was that? But you told me it was a Rototoms.
Rototoms, yeah.
Even the bass drum was Rototom, or
No. You just had a set of Rototoms, three Rototoms. I think it was a 8, 10 inch and a 12. If I'm mistaken, that's what they are.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember they said, "Hey, what kind of drums it is on that song?" And me said, "No, I don't Rototoms." I was like, "Okay, era ya Manny entonces."
I think that was the high school bands. They had those también Rototoms.
Yeah, I remember.
Did they have something like that?
Yeah, not too long ago, I saw one at a store. Believe it or not, I think it was used or selling it. Y la quería comprar. I just wanted to buy it just to have it, but
Just to have
no,
it,
yeah, just to have it and even record with it. Pero
Yeah.
dije no.
You could do a lot with those, man. I mean, that was an experience for me también with Manny, at the studio. He had them there, and then entre cantina y cantina, that's what I used on them, Y por eso se oían así también.
So yeah, they kind of sounded electric, ¿verdad?
Uh-huh.
Como la decía EQ y todo.
Yeah.
Because I think that was right before he went into the electric side, ¿verdad?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, because I had some Tamas también que eran electronics. No, was it Tamas or? Yeah, the Tamas, the black ones, Octagon, with the real heads on them too.
Wow.
That Joe Rios had bought those también, so I was using that on the road. It's Tama electronics.
So another drumming question. How would you say, you came about your style, like, I mean, como yo, I mean, aprendí de ti, de Richard, de Bobby, so to me, yo soy una capirotada de todos, de ti, de Richard Solis, de Richard Barron, de Bobby Solis, de Juan Hinojoso's another one, all these guys, all these guys, that desde chiquillo, nomás me ponía, yo tenía un drum set que me compró mi papá también, pero era un toy drum set, pero back then duraban bastante porque tenían plastic case y todo. Y me ponían la record player y pues de ahí, from the morning till late at night, nomás me quedé ahí estudiando. I would go see, like I said, Bobby Solis, Jesse Reina, miraba, oh, that's the okay. Y así, I mean, so what would be, I mean, who are your main influences?
I really didn't have a main influence because I learned really after that 1 year that I took in junior high. I learned, just by listening to records, radio. I played rock coming back then, when I was, trying to learn a little bit of everything, that's what I do. I mean, I can't really pick just a certain. I'm variety kind of drummer. I mean, I'd like to play a little bit of everything.
And your cumbias, like, where did you pick up your cumbias from? Listening to Chicano music or listening to the grupero music from Mexico back then? I mean, because I hear your cumbias and it's like, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. It's not like
old school.
Yeah, it's old school, but it's different though.
Yeah. It's old school, but I mean that's that's the way I learn them, and I try to improvise a little bit more, when I play cumbias. I love to play cumbias también, and keep a little, beat, que se mueva de tiro corrido, That's what I like to do on the cumbias, man. Yeah, they told me también, damn man, I've never heard, that old school, with a, that's the old beats, And when I played this past, was it Saturday? At Somerset, Texas, con X-Men.
Okay.
He got a little band together, estaba Eddie Pérez, Eddie Pérez.
Oh, yes.
En bajo, este chavo de, plays bass, what's his name, and I can't remember. He said he used to play with Diferencia también.
Oh, okay.
Güerito él, barbita.
Probably Jerry?
Eh?
Jerry?
Jerry,
Okay.
I think Jerry. And ¿quién más también? On sax también, and then Chavo Garza's brother también,
Okay.
Jose Garza,
Oh, okay.
Singing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So that's
but the bass player was the one who told me, "Hey, man, I never heard anybody play that old school cumbia beat, and yeah, but he enjoyed it, We jammed como quiera, it turned out pretty good. But that's the old school, music that I learned,
I just kept that, just playing what I feel, what I feel with at the time, whatever band I'm playing with. And it's something different all the time. To me, it's something different and exciting to me when you go with a different band to play different from what you've been playing.
Yes.
With other bands.
Yeah, every I think
It is.
every band is different. You gotta acoplarte con ellos. No puedes tocar.
Yeah, compras, and there's not too many that will do that.
They do that.
It's a compras, or they go do freelancing because I've never done that. I just play one band, that's it.
Wow.
But it's a challenge for me. It's a challenge, really.
I wouldn't be able to tell that.
Yeah, you might. I mean, once you get the, I guess, like I say, the experience, man. It's not how good a musician or how bad of a musician drummer you are. It's the experience of what you know, what you heard in the past. I mean, especially the old stuff.
Yeah. So, how many recordings besides Montana have you recorded with anybody else?
Kathy Chavez también. Kathy
Oh, really?
Chavez, yeah. We did a whole album. You, Roger Contreras, Joe Raveles, and con Gibby. When Gibby estaba at South Recording before he went on his own. We did a whole CD con Kathy Chavez, John Pacheco, but it was on the guitar también.
Wow.
Roger Contreras, I think Joseph de la Cerda did a couple of tracks. But who else? Hatamales, of course, like I said, that's one album that we recorded that in with Freddie Records and Corpus. And that's the only album Hatamales ever recorded, man, that I know of. I mean, maybe 45s here and there with Chelly Lares when she was, younger.
Oh, okay.
And maybe Mike Rocha también probably recorded a few songs, with Hatamales. But that I know of, Hatamales, the only 40 album that we ever recorded.
Was that the yellow album that has the HT or something like that?
Like in the background, that's what band.
Nunca supe que eras tú. I gotta look at the pictures now.
They had long hair back then, man. That's why everybody else did.
Even Ricky Luna had long hair back then, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So, like I said, we're here with Roger Contreras. Roger Contreras. Está hablando de mí, Roger Cabello. Like I said, he, to me, he's one of the legends in our onda. Original drummer for Montana band when they had Ram Herrera as their vocalist. I look up to this guy. He's always been like a mentor to me. Yes. I mean, to this day, it feels good to. Sometimes you're driving out of town and you're listening to the stations in the valley. Sale Rosas para una Rosa. Sale you're just still playing them. You're like, damn, this, that's great music. I mean, of course, great drumming. Of course, I mean, everybody, but todos ponen su grano de arena, ¿verdad? Para hacer la producción, la música.
Their input, yeah.
And it's very beautiful to still hear that, to hear it all these years later. I remember as a kid listening to that stuff, and I was like, wow. And then 40-something years later, you still hear it.
Yeah.
And that's a testament, of course, to everybody's talent, but since it's a drumming thing, the testament to your talent, your drumming talent, something that you're gonna leave behind forever, and I'm just proud and glad that I know you, and you've always been humble and cool with me, and always, have advice for me, and it's just, I'm just proud to know you.
And it just continues. It continues, bro. I mean, with the younger generation, I mean.
And that's why, like I had told you earlier, I wanted to do this. This is the first time. This is new, so it might be kind of rocky or whatever it is, but it is what it is. It's something that I wanted to do because I appreciate these guys. They've been there before us. They're still here. They're still doing what they're doing. And you young guys out there, these are the guys that open the doors for us. Set the pavement for us to walk through and stuff like that. And it's just, everything, from the tuning, the way, the drums sounded back then, the way you hit the drums, because of course studio and live is always different, everything magnifies in the studio. But just want to thank you for giving me your time, to do this. Like I said, it's the first time. Hopefully, I want to get more drummers that people don't know about. Like I was telling you, I talked to some younger drummers, and they're like, "Who's that? Like, you don't know who that is?" No, they thought it was so and so. And I was like, "No, it's this guy." It's like, oh, no, it was this guy that did it. It's like, oh, so this is the guy. If you remember who I was talking to, this is the guy, Roger Cabello, that did Rosas para una Rosa, Entre Cantina y Cantina, and other hits like you hear in the back right here.
I just hope you do some good editing, before you even put it out there.
No.
I know it's the first time, but I know, hey, you're doing great, man. You're doing great as an interviewer.
No, it's just like I said, it's just something that I just want to do. Like I said, pay it back and pay it forward. Because there's a lot of history. There's a lot of history in our onda, and to me, it's like when they ask me, well, why do you do that? It's because I kind of learned from this guy and I made it my own. Or I learned it from Roger and I made it from. I learned from Richard Silly and made it my own, or I learned from Richard Baron and made it my own. I learned that. I mean, when I was little, they used to make fun of me at school porque yo oía esto. Everybody was listening. I mean, of course, también me gustaba Michael Jackson, Madonna, Judas Priest. I used to like all that, Pero yo, it's like I couldn't get away from this. It's just like, it's in my blood, man. I couldn't get away from it. So I would go home and I would put on that Little Joe, Ricky Reyes, Ram Herrera,
Is that a
man, it's just, I'm always, sometimes even my wife, I get home from the gig 2, 3 in the morning, prendo la música. I can never get enough,
I had two of my uncles on my mom's side that came from Laredo in my younger days. They lived over here with us in San Antonio. Acá para la beach, even 19th Street. And my tío, every time we get off of work, or we get paid, at the end of the week, every 2 weeks, whatever, he'd go out and buy an album. And he loved Chicano también, Little Joe, traía Joe Bravo, Sonny, Agustin. Hey, órale, ahí está, mira, listen to this. That would, también, because he had all kinds of albums, man. My tío was always buying albums.
Y así era, pues,
That's
mi dad would do that.
right there. Yeah,
Así era mi dad. Con mi dad era puro Chicano-Tejano music. Que era Pulido, Ram Herrera, Leon Reed, Sonny Ozuna. I mean, those are the 4 right off the top of my head, but I mean, I would listen to everything. Grupo Más, Adolfo Garcia's another one. I mean, that's another one, man. Trendsetter también, And pues, my dad would go leave us sometimes con mi tía, y mi tía, pues, tráete el drum set, y me traía tocando puro oldies, Fats Domino, and all these oldie stuff, puro oldies, se ponían ahí, a pistear o whatever, y pues estaba toqui hasta y pues yo no me cansaba, estaba ahí toda la noche, Sometimes they would call the cops, hey, pero
after 10 o'clock,
I would always be going back and forth from my Los Angeles Casino courts, pero now it's just something, like I said, I wanted to do, and I'm glad you were the first one. And I hope to get more of my peers. There's a bunch of them out there that I look up to, that have been a big influence in my style and in my drumming to this day. That sometimes I even, my dad makes me all these CDs and I listen to them. Like, okay, porque toda vuelta,
Oh, yeah.
Everything, it's a circle, it goes around. So I always try to, do what I can.
Yeah. It's still there, también. It just keeps going. It keeps going, from back then, it just keeps turning around, and better, también.
Yeah.
I appreciate all that, también con los new young talent that, they're awesome,
There's a bunch of them out there that, of course, you got Joey Jimenez, Aaron Holler. I mean, those are the 2 that stick out right off the bat. Pero nombre hay muchos. My son Mel Sanchez is one of them. He's only 14, and I'm like, wow, where the hell did he get that?
Really, man. He's in bands big time. He's just a good drummer.
There's a bunch of drummers out there. Some of them I know by name. Some of them I don't know them yet. Pero I'm like, wow,
Yeah, you get on YouTube, you see all that, man. Young kids at 3 years old, 4 years old, playing, getting down.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. But is there any last words you want to say before we end this?
Just thank the people that have been behind, Tejano music, and it keeps going. It's not gonna die. It's not dead. Like people say that Tejano is dead. No, it's not. It's still there. It just changes.
Yeah, it does change. Any words of advice for a young upcoming drummer?
Just keep at it, man. Don't give up. Don't let nobody hold you back or anything. Just that's what you want to do. That's what you're gonna be. You're a drummer. You're really serious about it. Go for it. Yeah. That's about it.
All right, Roger. Well, once again, thank you for your time.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate your talent. Appreciate your friendship, your mentorship, and everything. Thank you.
Man.
Okay.
Yes, sir.